Sexuality, a term that evokes mixed emotions. In the present scenario, with a lot of exposure, it is impossible to stop children from not knowing about sexuality. And not knowing or inappropriate knowledge of the same can cause more harm than good. As a result, sexuality education is a pressing need of today. Let's know more about it from an expert.
Sexuality education is a very, very broad term. It refers to n number of things. Good touch, bad touch to begin with, and before that, uncomfortable touch. Relationships, attractions, reproductive health, reproductive hygiene, information about STDs, STIs, reproductive rights, more detailing in terms of safety measures, intimacies, intercourse, physiological changes in the body. The list is endless. We need it because in today's scenario, where there is a lot of exposure to sexually explicit material at a very, very young age, most kids have access to different gadgets, internet. N number of materials are freely available, which are not even age appropriate. Also, with the changing timings where both the parents are working, children are largely left either with the support staff or in a crèche, and this makes them all the more vulnerable for abuse. One of the major myths, see, UPS has been working in the area of sexuality education since ages now. There's so many years, and in fact, when the first time we started with this program, the first foremost question that I was asked by educated people, educated parents, principals, teachers, and even counselors, people from our own fraternity, psychology, was, don't you think sexuality education is going to increase sexual experimentation? The only response that I could give them was, do you think if you do not tell a child about growing up, during adolescence his hormones won't fire, he won't have desires, curiosities won't happen? So most of them said, well, that's not possible. That's exactly my answer. Sexuality education does not increase sexual experimentation. On the contrary, it reduces curiosities in this segment and reduces the chances of children gaining access to information through inappropriate sources, for example, magazines, internet. The right age to impart sexuality education is when the child develops the concept of body parts, is beginning to move out of house, or has begun to spend more time with support staff or extended family, because a lot of times misbehave with children or who sexually exploit children are the ones who know the child. In fact, a recent study by Ministry of Women and Child Welfare figured out that more than 53% of children are sexually abused. Therefore, education needs to be given at a very, very young age. However, the content will vary. The few things that every adult should keep in mind if the child talks about being sexually exploited or even about any attempt that might have happened with him. Step 1, a parent or an adult needs to trust a child. Do not buy every single word they say. Therefore, get into details of what happened, because children have a very limited vocabulary. Always apologize, because technically it is an adult's duty, be it teacher, parent, school authorities or anybody, to protect a child. A child is not expected to protect himself. So apologize that you somewhere failed to provide that protection. Never ever blame the kid. Never ever blame the kid. That is worse. It's like a double abuse for the kid, because most of the kids believe that they will not be trusted by their parents. Fifth, instill confidence. Provide support that you are there. Take immediate action. One can also make use of child helpline, which is 1098. It's a helpline number given by Government of India. Very, very effective. Do make use of it. Despite whatever has happened, allow the child, give him enough opportunities to have as normal childhood he or she can. And it is recommended that you do visit a child or a clinical psychologist, because there is a huge amount of trauma that children carry which needs to be addressed.